for string theory.
Jim, have you gone beyond that?
How about Brian is...
Well, you know, it's been very interesting sitting on the stage and listening to my colleagues. But, you know, and I am far from experimental physicist, as you can imagine. But this is why experimental...
Which means you're a theorist. Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, okay. It's code for I'm a theorist.
I'm a theorist, exactly. But my point is that it is always the case that it is our experimental colleagues that prevent us from forming a religion, because it is always grounded in what they can measure, as Martello keeps coming back to. And so although people can express either enthusiasm or dismay about where we are at a given point in time, I think that we need to be a little bit more humble and to understand that the process that we engage in is a constant flight from fantasy about what we would want to happen, and we query nature for that, and that query goes through experiment. So although this has probably been very entertaining for my audience here, I think that at the end of the day, we have to keep grounded in it's got to be about things that affect your lives, and those things are measurable things.
So where has this pursuit taken you?
Oh my God.
Where have you landed?
Why would you ask that?
I'm asking that here and now. It's New York City. It's March 7th.
Well, partly it's taken to these very strange images that are behind your head right now. These are pictures of equations. I've been, for the last 15 years, trying to answer the kinds of questions that my colleagues here have been raising. And what I've come to understand is that there are these incredible pictures that contain all the information of a set of equations that are related to string theory. And it's even more bizarre than that, because when you then try to understand these pictures, you find out that buried in them are computer codes, just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web. And so I'm left with the puzzle of trying to figure out whether I live in the matrix or not.
Wait, you're blowing my mind at this moment. So you're saying, are you saying your attempt to understand the fundamental operations of nature leads you to a set of equations that are indistinguishable from the equations that drive search engines and browsers on our computers?
That is correct. So
wait, I have to just be silent for a minute here. So you're saying as you dig deeper, you find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos?
Into the equations that we want to use to describe the cosmos, yes.
Computer code.
Computer code, strings of bits of ones and zeros.
It's not just sort of resembles computer code, you're saying it is computer code.
It's not even just is computer code, it's a special kind of computer code that was invented by a scientist named Claude Shannon in the 1940s. That's what we find very, very deeply inside the equations that occur in string theory, and in general in systems that we say are supersymmetric.
Okay.
Time to go home, I think. I mean, where are we going to go? So are you saying we are all just, there's some entity that programmed the universe, and we're just expressions of their code?
Well, I didn't say that. Some of those
like the Matrix? That's what you said.
Some of those codes are showing on the screen behind you right now. They don't look like codes, but these pictures, which we call deGrasse, are graphical representations of sets of equations that are based on codes. So this is, in fact, to answer your question more directly, I have in my life come to a very strange place, because I never expected that the movie The Matrix might be an accurate representation of the place in which I live.
Jim, may I give you an argument that we don't live in the Matrix?
Please. Yeah.
A very simple argument.
Give me one now, quick.
A very simple argument. There's a property that the real world right down here has that no mathematical equation has, that no solution of an equation has, that no abstract object has. Here in the real world, it is always some moment, which is one of a series of passing moments. And a mathematical equation doesn't have a flow of time in it. It just is.
No,
and this means...
But Lee...
Wait, let him finish. Wait, I need him here and now.
This means that, to me, that the ancient metaphysical fantasy that we quote are just mathematics cannot be true, because in a world that was just mathematics, there would be no moment of time.
Why isn't
which
there
is this-
math as a
Lee,
function of
Lee,
time?
I'm sorry.
We solve
They're
those,
just-
these are differential equations.
But,
No, Lee,
then you lay the solution out.
Lee,
X is a, yeah.
You're mistaking, you keep using the word is, and I'm talking about the word describe. You see,
But
the whole...
described is fine, but
No,
but then we're
let
not
me
in the
let me
matrix.
finish, please, since
Yeah.
we started with my discussion. The point is that you know, it's fun to talk about some deep metaphysical essence that sits behind physics, but for some of us, it's about trying to find the most accurate way to describe where we live. And so my statement is that in the description of our universe, that is a supersymmetrical universe, which we were going to test in the LHC. If you believe that description, I can show you the presence of these codes. That's my statement.
That's beautiful, and that's fine, and I admire that. Seriously, that's fine. That's another beautiful piece of mathematics that may be explanatory or descriptive of physics, but that all I'm objecting to is that doesn't mean that we live in the mathematics. That means the mathematics is just descriptive of an aspect of the universe, and
Well, that's a
we're
good
not
point.
in
Let me
the
follow that
matrix.
one up. Jim, just because, who was it? Eugene Brigner, who commented on the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics that we just invent in our head, yet the universe follows, can be described mathematically. Mathematics is the language of the universe. Brian, math is your tool. So should we be amazed or depressed by what Jim tells us here?
I can't really comment on what Jim says. I find myself in the unusual position of feeling rather conservative on a panel when usually I'm sort of at the outskirts.
And by the way, the pictures Jim showed all look like spirograph images
I saw them. I
from
saw
your
them,
kids'
and I don't
thing.
know enough about them to comment, but there is an interesting question, the one that you raise, about whether math is descriptive of the universe, or we are the math, or what's the role of math? Do you discover it? Is it invented? I mean, I had a conversation, and I think you may have been involved in it, if I'm not mistaken. The question was, you know, is math the right way of going about trying to find deep physical law? And I said, look, I can imagine one day we'll encounter aliens, and they'll say to us, okay, show us what you've got to describe the universe. We break out our mathematics, and they look at it and they say, oh, math, we used to do that.